Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Meeting Gold podcast. If you are interested in YouTube, how to grow on YouTube, and reptiles as a bonus, then welcome to today's episode. If you're looking to start a YouTube channel or growth on social media in general, Adam from Wickens Wicked Reptiles has got you covered. He's got how many subs now? You are very close to 200,000.
I just hit 199 today.
199 today.
Yeah.
So next Saturday, this podcast goes out, so you will probably be at 200.
If there'll be something terribly wrong if I do not hit 200 by then, yeah.
How many subscribers do you grow approximately a week?
It depends. Usually 3,000, around that.
Around 3,000.
Around 3,000.
Geez, 3,000 people are clicking that red button for you every single week.
Which is wild.
It's crazy to think about. Well, listen, Adam, we're so stoked to have you, man. Give us a little rundown of who you are, real quick, like a 1-minute thing, and then we'll get right into this because I think a lot of people are excited to hear about how to grow a YouTube channel.
Sure. So my name is Adam Wickens. I'm from Niagara, right? So I'm from here. And I tell jokes on stages, which is how I got started with this. And then I started a Reptile YouTube channel 3 years ago, and now I'm the Reptile guy.
In Canada. Basically.
Well, yeah, it's the biggest reptile-related YouTube channel in Canada now. So,
jeez, we can totally plug that and use that as clickbait.
Yeah.
And it's not even clickbait. So
it's
we're
true.
telling the truth.
It's true, yeah.
So, Adam, I want to ask you a variety of questions.
Sure.
We'll try to get in as nitty-gritty as possible. But first, if anybody wants to reach you or contact you with any questions that we maybe didn't cover today, how can they reach you?
So, Wickens Wicked Reptiles on everything. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, obviously, wickenswickedreptiles@gmail.com, the whole gamut.
Right. Okay. Now, I want to ask you one quick question for a good hook here for our audience.
Sure.
What is your favorite and least favorite reptile that you own?
That I own? That's a good question. I think my favorite is probably Diamond.
Of course, who, if you're watching on YouTube right now or any teaser here, you'll be able to see Diamond on Adam's shoulder, who will probably just sit there for the next 45 minutes.
He will, unless I say bad things about him, and then he flies around and breathes fire. It's brutal. For a least favorite, it's really tough to say because I don't dislike any of them, but I would say probably the most boring of all my reptiles. I've got a Sudan plated lizard named Attila, and every time I pick her up, she like bites me and pees on me.
Really?
Yeah, and she just kind of sits there otherwise, so that's probably the most boring one.
Boring.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I mean, you have snakes, you have lizards, you have turtles, you have, a variety of different animals. You have dogs, you have everything. I wouldn't be surprised if you have a cat too, to be honest. But why reptiles? I have to ask that. Why reptiles? Was it something from a childhood dream? You just love reptiles? You loved animals or what?
Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs.
So Land Before Time was my thing when I was a kid.
Oh my God. I remember that show. I watched it all the time.
Yeah. So in every year, a new Land Before Time would come out and I would get the new VHS for Easter. I remember it. And then all of a sudden I realized, oh, you can't have dinosaurs anymore, right? Because you can't.
Yeah.
They're extinct. Sorry. Spoiler alert. But then I realized, okay, well, what about lizards and snakes and stuff? And then when I was a kid, we could have the TV on whenever we wanted as long as it was educational. So Discovery Channel. So Jack Hanna, Kratz Creatures was the main one. And then Steve Irwin was always on in my house.
I love that parenting style.
Yeah.
I love it. I could always play Minecraft because it was educational.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's like, and it was, you could watch as much TV as you wanted in the house as long as it was, like, there was a lesson to be taken from it. So even, like, I remember my dad saying, oh, you can watch Boy Meets World and stay up a little bit longer because it's, like, teaches you a lesson. I'm like, what, that's a pangolin, it's just super hot? Like, what's the lesson exactly, right? But, yeah, so that's why. And then I've always loved reptiles, but I never got to get one until I was old enough to pay rent because my mom doesn't like snakes and lizards, so...
I mean, can you blame her?
Yeah, they are weird. I do get it. But, I mean, I have made a short career of convincing people that snakes and lizards are not scary. But I do, like, they're weird.
Right.
I get it.
So real quick, before we get really nitty gritty into your channel, Devin, thank you. Shout out to Devin, the Dev Show, because he actually introduced me and Adam. We shot an amazing vlog together. It's coming out this Saturday. It's really funny. Fun. That was amazing, man. The What's in the Box challenge.
Yeah, Jeez. It was great.
Samuel Mealy on YouTube, everybody. Check it out. But anyways, so you were a comedian. Or like you have background in that or something.
Yeah, so I started stand up in 2017, and
just for fun.
Well, so I started the first time I ever did stand up was in 2010, and I was really interested in doing it, but at the time also got into bodybuilding, and I'm like, okay, so really? I can pick one or the other. because they're both all-in type things. And I decided, okay, so I'm young now, my body still works. Let's try the bodybuilding thing. And I did that, and then I competed in 2014, 15, 16, won a bunch of trophies, and then tore my shoulder apart. And I'm like, okay, so I can't do that anymore.
Right.
So what can I do to stand on stage and get the attention that I so crave, obviously, but keep my clothes on? So I decided, I started stand-up comedy, right? Like I've always been like the funny guy. And then I realized very quickly that just because you're the funny guy in class or with your friends doesn't mean you're good at stand-up.
It's a whole,
different thing.
I'm no stand-up comedian, but I know Joe Pilitary, if Joe's listening to this, that's awesome. But he's a comedian around here that a lot of people know. And he says himself, just like you would, it is a whole other animal.
Yeah, and Joe's been doing it forever, so that's a great guy to take like advice from. And I listen to guys like that because there's a few of them in the region like that. Mark Matthews is another one, and it's just a different thing to be able to hold someone's attention or hold a group of people's attention, to be able to turn an audience who isn't engaged and create engagement is something that takes years to learn. And I'm still not anywhere near the level of these other guys.
I feel like when somebody's expecting to laugh, a lot of people might not laugh as they would, or it might be harder to make them laugh in a situation where they're expecting to. Do you find that, or?
Yeah, because that's exactly. It's like showing someone this video. Oh, this is the coolest video ever,
and then saw the video, or no,
or like they watch it and they're waiting for. If they saw it on their own organically, it would be like, oh, this is funny. But now you've built up that hype, and it's the same thing when you walk into a comedy club. But also it can go the other way because laughter is contagious. So if you get a really good club that's packed or has tight groups of people, low ceilings so that the sound reverberates, it's easier. When you go into a comedy club and it's like a Thursday night at Showtime and there's 25 people in the audience and they're all spread out, the laughter isn't as contagious. So there's a million variables, but I always found
that's really interesting.
Yeah.
It's audiences.
Yeah.
So so then let's use that to get into now YouTube.
Sure.
Building an audience on YouTube. COVID hit pretty hard for everybody. We don't have to get into that. Finally, thank God, it's being kind of
maskless finally this week.
Yeah,
I'm very excited.
Yeah, me too. But 3 years ago, you said you started a YouTube channel. COVID obviously hit 3 years ago. So was that just kind of like I'm going to go full out on my YouTube channel now, or?
So I started in 2019 in January 14th. I remember it. And then when COVID hit, it was, I guess, March 17th is when we started working from home 2 years ago. So once that happened, I got to work from home and I was working this job, which honestly, I could have done all 9 hours of this job in 2 hours. So then I had all this time to work on the channel. So I created a website, created a Discord, got better at video editing, got better at making videos. So honestly, COVID was a blessing for the channel for sure.
Well, I mean, I'm certainly glad to hear that. So you just kept it consistent. Have you had any 3 tips to YouTube channel success, or it sounds like it was just like a straight up grind for you?
Yeah, the advice that I give everybody is if there's 3 things: don't miss uploads, don't miss uploads, and don't miss uploads. Like the amount of excuses, oh, well, I got sick. Well, it doesn't matter. Like I've edited videos with food poisoning with a bucket beside me. Yeah. Videos have to go out Mondays and Thursdays. The YouTube algorithm likes it because at the end of the day, you're pleasing an audience, but you're also pleasing the algorithm, and that's really important.
Right. That's really interesting. So when did you kind of say, I'm going to go full time? Because you were working a job, security, right? Everybody likes security. Everybody likes a safety net of, said income. Oh, I'm going to make, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 grand a month. I'm safe. I am good. Right. You were making X amount of money, but you really liked YouTube. You pursued your passion. And I mean, you're a living replica of that right now. So what was the jump for you? Where did that happen? When did it happen? Because a lot of people are like in limbo right now. I know, for example, Chris, he's doing well with his job, very well. He's doing pretty well with his channel, but it's just not enough to make that jump.
Yeah, and he's a really good presenter, and I think he will get there for sure. I watched some of his videos, and they're hilarious. What made me take the jump is having the opportunity to talk to someone who could, from the outside looking in, because for me, it was always, I need to make this much money before I quit. And when I decided to quit, I wasn't making that much money. So what I did instead is I had this house, I sold the house, and then I had a payday. And now I can sit there, and if my channel tanks, I can live for 2 years. So this is something that most people don't have. But by the time, because that plan went into action in July, that's when I decided. November is when I finally sold the house, got the payday, quit the job, all in the same week. So, but by that time, I was already making more than at my job. So I decided in July, and then I worked towards a goal, which happened in November of 2020.
I love that. So, I mean, I like money. I'm a money guy. So for me, I like hearing that as you built, well, I guess you let appreciation in your home build up for a safety net. I mean, not everybody, especially today, owns a home, right? I don't know what 25-year-old can qualify for a mortgage right now. It's unless you're ultra successful, that's pretty tough. So with that being said, you know, save, create some sort of safety net, work your ASS off, right? And just work hard to save X amount of money that you need. Call it emergency fund. Like I love managing my own money. I have personally an emergency fund. If I quit my business, I'd be able to cover expenses, or if my business didn't do well for 3 months, I'd be okay. After that, different story, right?
Yeah, I think the thing is too, like it's difficult too. So it's easy for me to sit here because I bought a house in 2014 before it went crazy.
Yeah.
So I got lucky, and I know that. So it's easy for me to say, oh, well, you should always have 3 months or 6 months in the bank. But for me, I always do that, and I always will have that safety net now. But I've also was very lucky to meet a very young business owner. This guy used to come to the gym. I met him at the gym. He owns the comedy club in
awesome.
St. Catharines. And him and I have been friends for 10 years. And I remember him driving a Beamer. He was like 24, 25. He drove 2 different Beamers at a 6-bedroom house. This is back in the day, 2012 maybe.
Right.
And I'm like, what do you do for a living? And that's when I learned about real estate. And that changed my life. Now, obviously, it's different now, but there are certain things and there's certain people that can influence you. So to say that I've done this all by myself, there's been a million stories like that have allowed me to realize this dream.
Yeah. Now, what was your biggest challenge starting your YouTube channel, getting it to 2? I mean, let's be real though. You were at like 100K a year ago. So it took you about 2.5 years to grow to 100K. And then you kind of, in the last, like 6 to 12 months, just blew up.
Yeah. So it's crazy because I quit my job at 50K, which was in November, 55, whatever it was. And then 2 days before my birthday last year, it was May 13th, I got to 100K because I set the goal. Before I turned 30, I want 100K.
Right.
And I hit it 2 days before. So it was
oh my God.
Perfect. And it was a great thing too. And then right after that, that's when the channel skyrocketed because I did that video called My Opinion on Other YouTubers. And people love dirt. They love
controversy, everybody.
Exactly. So instead of being controversial, what I did is I put all these big names together and put them on the thumbnail with me. And I made it seem like I was going to tear them all down. And instead, I like this guy, I like this guy, I like this guy. There was a couple bad like animal abuse channels that I tore apart.
Yeah.
But then what I did is I took all these tiny channels and I propped them up. So I used my audience to leverage other people to see them. And I remember one of my favorite channels, her channel was at like 600 or 700. And then it was like 3,000.
Oh, are you serious?
Almost immediately. And it was, and I don't want to say I'm the reason for her success because I'm not. She makes better videos than me. And she's like 16 or 17. Wow. I think she's 14. I don't know. Anyway, regardless. So it's almost like the best feeling that I've ever had since starting the channel was being able to do that for somebody else.
Support.
Yeah. And because the channel is amazing. Like I will vouch for anybody who works their butt off. I will vouch for anyone. And so it was just a nice feeling to be able to be like, here you go. And then all of a sudden now you can run with it because it takes momentum. It doesn't matter how good your channel is. If you don't have the momentum, best of luck.
Exactly. And that's like, you like to reward hardworking employees, or you like to reward, your parents who supported you when you get older, when you have enough money to do so, or, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. I see that's kind of what you're talking about. You like to support and thank people and give them a little bit of hope that you kind of wish you may have gotten. So that leads me into my next question. Your hardest or biggest challenge with YouTube. A lot of people quit. A ton of people quit. I'm like trying right now to post every single Saturday, and it's hard. I have 3 people working with me to post every single Saturday. You didn't even have that. So what was your biggest challenge? But then also couple that with your motivation for constantly posting.
When I do anything, I either do it all the way or I don't do it at all. I have this weird personality where, like going to the gym in 2010, and I said I was going to go to the gym, and 3 years later I was on a bodybuilding stage. Right. I didn't expect. I just wanted to like look better to get women. Like honestly, like
no,
let's
literally,
be perfectly honest, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it became to the point where my physique no longer impressed women; it just impressed dudes, right? And I didn't care, because it was just like, bro, how do you get your calves that big, But it was like I like accomplishing things. I'm very goal oriented, so if I set a goal, I'm going to reach the goal. I don't care what I have to do. I'm going to reach that goal. So my biggest challenge, I think, was for the first 9 months, nothing happened. There was no sign of this ever taking off. It took me 7 months to get to 1,000 subs.
Wow. Did you get like little teasers of hope, like 100 views or like
sometimes? And then there was one, and it was my first top 5 video because I thought about it. And I'm like, everyone else, there's a bunch of other niches that do top 5s. And my biggest motivation for starting a YouTube channel in the first place was Brian Barchuk back in the day. He's the biggest name in reptiles, nicest guy. And he used to do top 5s in like 2008, 2009 when nobody was making videos. We're talking like 480p, like terrible quality, right? Because that's all that was available. And then I said, okay, so I'm going to do the top 5. I did one, and I thought the analytics were broken. I couldn't believe how it just, and by that I mean like it was like 2,000 views on the first day.
Oh my word.
Yeah. And normally it was be like 25 or 30 or maybe 100. So I couldn't believe it. I'm like, okay, I'm on to something. And then I hit another one in December that year, 2019. And it was the same day as my Christmas party at the place that I was working. Yep. And I remember just like looking under the table at my phone at this Christmas party, like, what is like YouTube is broken. There's no way.
Dopamine just completely overtook you. Yeah.
And that's when I realized, okay, I have something here.
There's a shot.
Yeah.
And that's where that hope came from. I remember Chris saying the exact same thing. It was like a grind, and then you just get one video. And I think that video now, it was like this filmed on like a GoPro Hero 2, like 720p. It was a Mercedes Sprinter van. Yeah. It was just a walkthrough of his fiance's sister's or brother's Sprinter van. And it got like, now it's at like, oh, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, but like over 1.1 million views, I think.
Wow.
And it's been, granted, it's like 4 or 5 years. Years of that or something like that. He'd have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to ask you because I've heard the same thing from a couple of YouTubers. I mean, you're definitely the largest YouTuber that I personally know and that a lot of people probably know in the area. But what is the strategy behind a organically blown up video? We're talking titles, tags, thumbnails. Give me the full rundown.
So I don't even think tags are that important anymore. If you look at the algorithm, like I could be wrong. I'm not an expert. Okay. Right. But from the people.
Wait, hold on. Yeah. Not an expert. But he's got 200,000. He gets a full-time paycheck from this. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, continue.
Sorry. Yeah, so get lucky. That's my number one thing.
Yeah.
But in terms of tags, like it's buried so low, you literally have to click a button under the upload page to add tags now, right? Where back in the day, when I first started, it wasn't like that. It was like right at the top. So I don't think tags are that important, but thumbnail and title. That's all we have as YouTubers. That's it. Because that is so with a movie, you have a trailer and you have a movie poster. And if you go see a different movie, then your trailer plays. But with us, it's a homepage or a notification if they're subscribed and a picture and some words.
That's all the marketing you get.
That's it. So you can make trailers if you want, but where are you going to show them? You know,
where are you going to post them on YouTube? Oh, then you got to worry about a thumbnail and a title again.
So what helped me, I think, was posting in Facebook groups. The problem becomes, especially in Canada, because it's so small and the reptile community in Canada is really small, all of a sudden now you start gaining some traction. And all of these people who have more knowledge than me, they're way more knowledgeable than me, but they don't have a platform because they didn't put in the work to create a platform. Now all of a sudden you created a bunch of haters because you're a novice, right? I've only been doing this for 13 years or whatever.
And yet you're starting to blow up.
Right.
People will always hate because they wish they jumped on that. Like, are you kidding me? I am so against like day trading and like Shiba Inu and all at GameStop. But
I lost so much money in sheep.
but listen, do I strongly get anxious and annoyed when somebody tells me they made 41 grand in 3 days off GameStop? Yeah. Anyway, sorry, just continue. But it goes across the board with anything worldwide. When you're going to be successful like that, you're going to get that I wish I did that, but they're not going to say it that way. They're going to say
exactly.
Oh, fuck you. Like that.
And it's, honestly, it's a very small percentage. So I don't want to make it seem like, everyone's jealous. It's not that. Yeah. It's just, there's a certain amount of people that, and I've been like, so anyway, so Facebook helped me quite a bit. And then I think Reddit helps a lot of people. I just don't know how to do it. And I'm strapped. Now I'm at the point where I need to start dishing things off so I can get into things like a TikTok brand or doing Reels. Because if you're a one platform pony, it's bad news.
It's really bad.
Yeah, and that's what I am right now. So that's why, honestly, man, meeting you was an inspiration because, honestly, for real, because, and I remember I walked away from it and my girlfriend's like, how was your shoot? And I'm like, you would like, this is the most inspirational 18-year-old I've ever met.
Thank you.
If I was that, like, if I had the gumption at 18, I would be on the moon with Elon right now. Like it would be, it's crazy. So you had a bright future.
I appreciate that so much.
So I just think that, I need to like branch out. So that's what would be my suggestion for now in comparison to when I started even, because TikTok wasn't even like a huge thing in 2019. Right?
You really, I'm thinking in my head, like you had Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Yeah.
And like, if you're going to focus on something, go hard at least one time when you're starting out. But it's like breaking that habit of going hard on one platform. You've been doing it for so long. Now get on it. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Snapchat. Reach all those audiences. It's not easy.
Well, especially because you can cross platforms pretty easily. Well, not easily, but it's possible now because there's some really big creators that have way bigger audiences than me, but they're on TikTok. So if I could kind of branch, and the thing is too, like in Canada, you can't make money on TikTok, but you can still
indirectly.
Right.
I mean, you're monetized. Like you literally, that's how you pay for your bills.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, I mean, from what I've seen from TikTok, you can get one video that blows up big time, and that'll bring 10,000, 30,000, 40,000 views to your YouTube video. Like I remember I've done that. I remember I watched an Ultimate Frisbee highlight reel on TikTok for like 20 seconds. I was like, oh, that's cool. I was taking a load. and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go on YouTube and I'm gonna go search up Ultimate Frisbee highlights. I don't watch Ultimate Frisbee. But do you know what I mean? Like that's the kind of traction that you can build off of TikTok. But continue.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of the next step. But sorry, what was the question that I was even answering?
Well, so yeah, no, that was good. So your biggest things about titles and thumbnails, because I'm telling you, man, it's not old news that people say titles and thumbnails are huge, but like we want to know how do I create controversy like you did? Do I ask a question in the thumbnail? Do I use all capitals in the thumbnail? Do I put text? Do I have a reaction? Give us what worked for you. So
definitely your face looking like what, like always, that always works for me. Or I always do like this spin. I'll spin on it. So my channel is very positive. So I did a video yesterday called Top 5 Worst Pet Geckos and 5 better options. So instead of vilifying, right? So tokay geckos are a great example, right? They look like Pokemon. They say tokay. That's why they're called that. But they bite. They're kind of like aggressive, not aggressive, but defensive.
Yeah.
So instead of like painting them as that way, and then now all of a sudden all the tokay breeders hate me, this is why they're not a great pet. They're great for these type of people. So you kind of spin it in a positive way, but people like negativity. So if you can bring them in with negativity and change it to a positive,
balance it.
And that's what I do with all these my opinion on videos. And that's why I like to do them. Because
that's how you're not hated by half the YouTube internet with reptiles.
Exactly. And I think that my name is pretty clean with the community as the most part, right? Except for the small Canadian group. But I think that, and the reason is because I don't dirt talk anybody, because what's the point? Unless you're a straight up animal abuse channel, but that's a different thing. And even if I don't like you, or if I have something that I think is bad, I'm not going to say it until I'll reach out to you and ask if I can go visit your facility. Because there's one channel I don't think too highly of, but I'll never say it until I have the opportunity to go and see this guy's facility.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so I like that. So you don't just, the simplest way of saying it is shoot your mouth off.
Yeah.
You're very smart with how you speak. I guess the advantage is, first of all, that comes off probably from like being a comedian, being on stage. You can't just, especially as a comedian, you might ride on somebody's reaction to something and then make fun of them. I've seen that. And some comedians do a good job at like not making it seem like they're genuinely like making fun of you. It's just like, relax, it's just a joke. So do you think that that's kind of helped you?
Yeah, like it's kind of like a misdirection thing, right? Like I'm taking you all the way over here, but you think you're going over here. You don't realize where you are until the end, right? And then with comedy, I like doing that. I don't say that I'm like the best at it. And that's why I think that I can get away with making political jokes, because I can make fun of either party and everybody's going to laugh, right? Because it doesn't come off as, oh, I'm a righty and I'm making fun of lefties or whatever, the opposite way, right? Yeah. It's, okay, well, everybody can laugh at this guy because he's the leader. He did this and everybody can laugh about it. Well, it's the same sort of thing in the reptile community where I can make a joke about, whatever it is, or I can bring you, or I can say, something that, or you think that it's going to be a negative thing and then bring you towards a positive light on it. So I guess just misdirection, I guess, is the best way to put it.
I love that. And so, I mean, does that kind of fall into the title of clickbait? And I've never been one to say clickbait's a bad thing.
It's not.
I don't think it is, because I think like movie trailers have been doing clickbait for the last however long movies have been made.
Works.
Like people have been, putting stigmas on YouTubers, all their clickbait. Now, granted, within reason, like, are you going to make a movie trailer on, Superman and you put Batman in it and Superman's in it one scene? You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
like,
I do know
there's a lot of YouTubers or even TikTok people that start their video or text it just to literally get views or to hold attention for, like, you see those TikToks, right? It's like, this person got in a car accident. And it's like, okay, everybody wants to stay and watch how the car accident happened, but the car accident never happened.
Exactly. Yeah, and I would never do that. If I put something in a title or a thumbnail, it actually happened. Maybe I overhype it in the thumbnail, but at the end of the day, clickbait is all we have as YouTubers. And why are you preaching to the choir? I'm trying to reach people who aren't fans of reptiles, who maybe have never had a reptile. And I get tons of comments. I've never even owned a reptile. I may never, but I still love your videos. That's what I'm going for.
Yep.
Because that person's going to see a snake in their yard and they're not going to kill it. They're going to be, oh, this is I saw this on Wickens Wicked Reptiles. This is a whatever it is. This is a corn snake. And I know that I can just safely relocate it.
I love it.
That's what I'm trying to do.
So that brings me into, like, finding your niche. You love dinosaurs. You took what you're passionate about and you pursued it.
Right.
Great. Now, somebody doesn't know what they're passionate about. Do they go and start a YouTube channel?
I think that yes. I think you should start a YouTube channel and you'll find that niche.
How? So I'm kind of trying to get to something here. So I always suggest people, from what we've seen, the minimal growth we've seen over the last little while on our company account and on this podcast account, it was like 10,000 accounts reached maybe on our podcast account, and then like 1,000 on our business account. We started posting reels and we started posting content every single day. We're now at 41,000 people reached in the last month, and we're now at 11,000 people reached on our company account. This is a company account. This is like just portfolio pieces and reels, right? And so we just started posting every single day, and we're kind of adjusting things to what people like. So I'm looking at, okay, why did this video do better than this video for the Meeting Gold on Foot series that we do on Instagram? And it's like, okay, maybe we started it with a long shot in the edit, and then brought it into a close-up shot. Maybe people, they stop for a second to watch it to figure out, oh, wait, what am I looking at, right? Because it's not so clear, rather than a close-up shot is super clear. So I try to understand, why are these videos doing better than these videos? What's your process look like on YouTube, analyzing your content after you've posted, let's say, 20 videos in 20 weeks, one a week, or whatever that is? What does it look like for you, like studying analytics?
So the first thing I study is thumbnails. So I'll look at the thumbnails, and YouTube is awesome because you can see whatever, there's 30 of them on one page. You look at the thumbnail, you look at the views right beside it. Okay, what do all these have in common? What do the titles have in common? So I look at that first. Right. And then I'll look at comments, because I reply to hundreds of comments every week. Every morning, the first thing I do is reply to comments, because I'm not awake, I can't do anything else. I'll reply to comments. I replied to 11,000 comments last year.
Holy smokes.
So I'll bet you it's more than everybody else in that niche. And the reason I do that is because you engage with the audience. So, and it allows me to pick the brains of these people too. Hey bro, loved your thumbnail. Got tons of that. Or, hey, I noticed that this was a different thumbnail. I didn't even think it was your video. Do you like it? Yes, I love it. No, I don't love it. Or the other thing too is I like external sources to analyze my YouTube as well. So Discord is a great one, right? I've got the biggest reptile related Discord channel now. So I'll go into there and I'll be like, hey, at everyone, what do you think about this? What do you want to see? I'll post things on YouTube, like polls to ask questions. So you can go through analytics all you want.
Devin was showing me that. Sorry to jump in, but Devin was showing me that you literally ask your audience, hey, what do you want to see next week?
And I make it. Yeah, so I'll ask you what you want. And some people say, oh, you're a phony, get your own ideas. Well, at the end of the day, I'm doing this I'm doing it for me, but I'm doing it for you also.
Yeah, right? You're an entertainment.
Yes.
It's like,
I pay my bills because you watch. So I'm going to make whatever it is that you want to watch. Oh, you're a sellout. Like, okay, what do you do for a living? Not this, right?
Yeah.
So the way that I look at it is, if you are going to be willing to give me 16 minutes of your time twice a week 32 minutes every week of your time, I will make whatever you want to see, as long as it's part of this niche, right? So, and that's why I always ask. And I think you can go over analytics all you want, but at the end of the day, nobody understands the algorithm. Analytics can be confusing, especially I'm not a genius. I never went to college. I barely passed math in grade 9, you know? Like, I'm the wrong guy here, right? So I'm the wrong guy to pour through analytics. So instead, I just ask people. I like talking to people. I like humans. I think that I can do a good job of reading between the lines of what people tell me. So what do you like? What don't you like? What do you want to see next week? And every single thumbnail, I will usually make 3 or 4. Now I have this guy, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And I'll post it on Patreon for all my patrons, which is almost 400 of them now. And I'll say, which one do you want and why? And I almost always pick the one that gets the most votes. But so you're paying, because Patreon's a paid for thing.
Yeah.
But even if you pay only $1, you still get the option to have your opinion. And to me, it's like twofold. I get your opinion, your value to me, and also you get an input of this channel, of this kind of large channel. You have an input that you pay maybe $1 for, and all the money goes back to Reptiles anyway. So it's just kind of like, I don't know, everyone's happy, I think.
Everyone's happy. And you're getting, I mean, especially you're happy because you're actually getting what people want to see.
Right.
Here's the thing. You know, somebody's going to hear this, and somebody's listening to this in their car, and they're going to say, well, Adam, like, man, I don't even have an audience. And can I answer this? Build one.
Yes.
It's not hard. You have people around you. If you are not a social person at all, like if you are in high school and you eat lunch on your own, you haven't talked to a single person, and you're in grade 12, and this is your last year, you haven't talked to a single person, you have no friends, you could still build an audience.
Yeah, that was me.
Literally.
Who you just described was me.
Yeah. Ask people around you, random people, hey, do you like this? Ask the person you order pizza from if he's a nice guy. Walk in, give him a good tip, and I'm sure he'll watch your video or even 20 seconds of it, right? And just get to know what people are saying. It's very easy to build an audience if you genuinely want to.
And if I'm someone in my car who has the mentality that I did when I was 18, I would scoff at everything you just said because I was so shy. So here's
interesting.
So when I was 16, I got a sales job, and I became the top seller in 2 months because the only original thought I may have ever had in my entire life was this: these people don't know who I am. They will never see me, and I will never talk to them again. And ever since I started treating people like I will never talk to this person again, not to be like rude to them.
No,
who cares,
it's a motivating factor.
I don't care what you think about me. So I will ask you whatever it is that I want, because if I walk up to you, you will never see me again. And that judgment, even if, because in my mind, anxiety, right? Like everyone hates me, I'm bothered everybody, but it doesn't matter because this person's never going to see me again. So I have to be uncomfortable for 5 seconds, and I get tons of feedback. So I would say if you're someone in the car listening who suffers maybe from an anxiety problem or just super shy, right? Yeah. Like I was, just pretend that you're never going to see this person again, because in the most part, you probably aren't, and just build your audience that way.
I love it, man. There's no excuse. In the end, somebody's going to make an excuse for that too.
Right.
It's if you're actually willing to do it. I mean, Adam's not anything special in the sense that, I mean, you're a great guy, but in the sense that you didn't do anything like crazy. You didn't box Floyd Mayweather to get famous on YouTube. You just kept posting, and you just studied what people liked. And I'm even seeing that now. So I want to ask you, actually, any advice from me? So we're posting every single day on our podcast channel. I'll just talk about our podcast channel. Every single day on our podcast channel. On Saturdays, we post an interview like this. We'll post, instead of posting a teaser, we actually post photos. So we post like a thumbnail that we get made from Fiverr. Thank you, Fiverr. That we get made, and we post that and say, hey, new episode live with Wickens Wicked Reptiles. Then on Sunday, we post a reel. So like a 30 to 60 second best moment. Then on Monday, we post we call it Meeting Gold on Foot, our series. So we'll post like me asking around people, interviewing people.
With a lapel mic.
With a lapel mic.
Yeah,
nice and simple.
Yeah.
Then on on Tuesday, we'll post a teaser. Wednesday, Meeting Gold on Foot. Thursday, teaser. Friday, Meeting Gold on Foot. Saturday, vlog again, or interview again. Same idea with our Vision Lux, our company account. Anything that I can do better, because I feel like there's a lot of people that are doing what I'm doing right now. They're taking the time, they're investing, they're posting a lot, and they feel like they've got some good content. They're onto something. Any advice that I can speed up the growth?
Well, here's what you have going for you. This is a much better produced podcast than every single other podcast I've ever been on, except for maybe Bar Chucks, right?
Yeah.
But that guy's also in a multi-million-dollar facility, and he's been doing this for 40 years. So besides that one, this is the best produced one. And this has been around for, what, a year or less?
8 months, I think. 8 months.
There you go. So my recommendation was to not stop. Just continue. This is the same advice. Man, I've like harassed my friends, like stop taking breaks. So don't take breaks. Continue your schedule that you just said. But other than that, I mean, the only thing I could recommend, and I don't want to like add to your workload because you already do so much. Do it. Find a niche. Find like, for me, it's reptile. So for me, it's easy because it's something I've always loved. If you ask me when I was 8, Adam, what do you want to do for a living? I want to be a stand-up comic and I want to talk about reptiles on the TV. I'm doing that. It's the internet, but the internet wasn't a thing then, right? So I'm doing exactly that. So I don't know, like, what do you want to do when you're 5 or 8 or 12?
Geez. I think I want to be a fighter pilot.
Okay. So I don't know, like, to me, it's just easier if you find a niche. Now you back yourself into a corner, but although my niche only has a certain cap, and you can, but that's the thing too, is Coyote Peterson's at what, 15 million?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, right? I watched that guy when he did the Sting.
Yeah,
look at his Sting videos, and as sad as it is, like, people want to see how this guy's gonna react to an insanely venomous, poisonous, dangerous sting.
Yeah,
granted, I think he started over exaggerating. No shade on Coyote Peterson. He took some big stings and some big bites. Those videos got like 40, 50, 60 million views.
Right.
It's insane. So
it's hard to give someone advice because like I said, although, I've got 200,000 subscribers and all this, I'm not an expert on YouTube. I think that what I do is I sell personality. That's it. Mm-hmm. I've always been well-spoken, or I think, besides the stuttering I did in the middle of this podcast. But usually, and ever since I was a little kid even, I was always told, like, you're well-spoken. So it's just something that has come naturally to me. And I think that's why my channel is successful. You are the same thing. You are very well spoken. You're obviously organized. So I don't really have much. If anything, I want to take advice from you.
Thank you.
Because you've got all this going on and you're on all these platforms and you did it in 8 months. Like 8 months ago, I was doing the same thing I'm doing now. Like I've barely grown besides the numbers.
Well, I got to say, it's interesting that, thank you for saying that, by the way. I think our goal is like, just keep it going. Mm-hmm. Because if I can just keep this going for a year, I can say I tried it for a year, like I did it. They say the 75 hard challenge, like that workout challenge that's trending, like people are quitting after like 5 days, right? It's like the motivation fades. And like I actually remember me, Bree, and Chad, Dev was in Toronto. We went out like two nights ago. I had no interest. I literally did not want to go out and film the interview series. Like I had no interest. But we just did it anyways. Like maybe we didn't do like 20 interviews. We did like 8, enough to cover the week and a little bit more.
But you still did it.
But we still did it. And I think that goes into, I think you can shed some light on this. Posting content. Hey, Adam, what do I post? Well, like you said, find your niche. But if you can't find your niche, you said still post. I remember when I was posting on my YouTube account, it was when I was in grade 9 and 10, and I was made fun of big for it. Super Spam Sam was my gaming one, and then Super Sam was like my account. And I would post every single week, and I just got some practice. I was just posting, and I was just I would show me mowing the lawn, me going to a store. I wanted to be the Casey Neistat. Okay. With a niche, right? But I didn't know the niche. But it's okay. It's okay. You're going to learn something from it. You're going to take something from it. I learned how to edit. Thank you. Thank God to those videos. Well, literally.
You've been like, so because you showed me that video the last time I was here, and I'm like, who edited this? And you're like, I did. And I'm like, oh, I don't know how to do any of this. Like, and I've been doing this 3 years, and I make a good living. Yeah. And I don't know how to do what you do. You make
way more than I do off of doing social media. That's for sure.
Right. But that's the thing is, like, sure, I do. And then there's channels that are way bigger than mine. And they don't know what
There's guys that don't even know how to edit. They've just been, clearly they've been smart. They've outsourced well. They've systemized it well, which I think for like creatives, like outspoken people, is very hard because you either want to do everything yourself or you realize you can't, but it's hard to trust people. We were actually talking about this. Even the thumbnails. Remember, I kind of got you hooked on that Fiverr guy.
Yeah, he's
for
awesome.
Like $16.
Thank you.
You get an amazing thumbnail. We do it for all of our meeting gold stuff. They're great. You get it in like a couple hours. And
dude, this was 25 minutes.
I know.
Even
it's insane. It's
I couldn't
insane.
believe it.
$16
For 16
right?
bucks. And it was the best thumbnail that I've ever had on a video.
I'm not going to lie. I was looking at your thumbnails because I was like, oh my God, no way he posted it. Because I saw on YouTube, you came up as a recommended, and I was like, this is sick. So I looked at your channel, and I was like, big upgrade.
Big upgrade. And it's funny because I posted it on Patreon, and it's weird because I've got a weird audience where it's all 18 to 24, and then this, it's the same for like 24 to 35 or whatever it is. But I also have quite a few that are like around 50. I've got and all the older audience hated it on Patreon. And like, if you're watching this on Patreon, like I'm not making like, oh, these old people.
No,
I'm just saying,
that's really interesting.
Yeah, and it's weird because they all said the same thing, or a lot of them said the same thing. This would appeal to younger viewers. That's where I make my money. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to do.
Like, do you know I mean, obviously you study your analytics. What is your age, average age? Do you know for YouTube?
So like, it gives you like ranges, right?
Yeah.
So 18 to 24 is one, and then 25 to 34, and they're almost identical. So I think almost 60% of my audience is that. And I actually have quite a few in the older age bracket too, but I don't have a ton 13 to 18. And that's where the money is.
Interesting. Yeah.
So because
they're going to binge.
Right. And that's the thing is like these people that have jobs and careers and lives.
They don't have time to binge.
No, but a 13-year-old does, especially school is a joke. No offense to people who are in school.
Yeah.
You get, March break off. You get 2 weeks during Christmas off. You get
2 months,
whole summer off, right? So that's happened. By the way, like I say it like I've never done it. Like I used to do it. I went to school. So, but in the summer, when I was a kid, I played video games because there was no YouTube. That wasn't a thing. But if there was a YouTube, that's what I would do. Every time you sit on the toilet, what do? You pull up YouTube or Instagram or whatever
TikTok,
it is.
Anything. Yep.
Exactly. You're always consuming content. So to me, if I had any advice for anybody who's listening, who's like, I want to start this, how do I do it? And I give this advice to everybody. I've given this advice 1,000 times. Start today. Whatever you're doing right now, this is not a joke. This isn't some inspirational baloney. Right now, right as soon as this podcast is over, create your socials and create your YouTube channel. Then go to bed if you want, or continue, because the next step is make 5 videos. Even if they're bad, even if they're terrible, even if you don't know how to do lighting, even if your audio is crap, even if you only have an iPhone 6, I don't care. Make the videos, post the 5 videos, because if you post one, then you have nothing else, no one's going to subscribe to your channel. They have nowhere to go. You need 2 or 3 videos before they hit subscribe, in my experience, on my analytics anyway. 2.3 videos they watch before they hit subscribe. So do that, and then every single week, get better. Never miss an upload, and also never miss an upload, and get better at something every week. So get better at, I've given Dev this. He's smiling because I've given you this exact talk.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Everybody, I've given this exact talk. So get better at lighting, get better at camera angles, get better at editing. That's a main thing. Make sure your editing is fast.
Yeah.
People do not have time to watch a stagnant. There's a guy who started the exact same time as me, and he said to me last week, he's like, Adam, what's wrong with this video? No one's watching it. I'm like, you have an overhead view of a box for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
No one's watching that.
Yeah.
No one's watching that. So, and the other thing too, stop making excuses. Whatever your excuses are, I've been doing this for 3 years. Okay. In those 3 years, I've traveled a whole bunch of places. I lost both my grandparents in the same week last year.
Wow.
I never missed an upload because I've had food poisoning. Like I said, literally puking into a bucket, still editing a video. And when I had a full-time job, these videos take 12 hours.
Yeah, you literally pushed it.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You have to take this seriously if you want to be taken seriously.
I love it. And a point that kind of came to a realization for me is...
I didn't mean to be that aggressive.
No, I loved it. Dude, it's going to make a great teaser. You notice all like big-time successful people, what do you see? You get to look back on their shitty videos.
Yeah.
Why are you able to look back on their shitty videos? Let's think. Because they started when they didn't have the best things, the best that, the best this. And those are the people that blow up because they learn the work ethic that's put into it.
My first video is a vertical video, so not even the right orientation, that I cut on my phone with music way too loud in the opening line of my very first video. Well, it's colder than a mother-in-law's heart out here, but the reptiles are fornicating. It's like 2 things I would never say now. Like, colder than a mother-in-law's heart. What am I, a comic from the 80s? Is this a Dangerfield special? Like, what? Who says this, So, and that's how I started, and I left that video up because I want everyone to see it. And if you watch the first bunch of videos, I was shooting on this old Nikon camera that I bought at the end of a bodybuilding prep because I was so bored of eating chicken and broccoli, and I just wanted to spend a vacation paycheck because I was so freaking bored and I never used the thing. And then I'm like, okay. And that camera I gave to my best friend who wants to learn how to do videos. This is what I started on. It's a piece of crap, but it shoots 1080p and you can hook a microphone up to it.
Fantastic.
That's all you need, right? And I did videos. I did over 100 videos on that. And then I bought a little bit of an upgrade.
Yep.
And then I just bought another upgrade. So that's just it. And like you have here, like you have a bunch of great cameras, but you didn't start that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Literally, I think my first, I had a lot of support from my parents, but my first camera, well, my first editing software was a $40 editing software. When I wanted to spend money on video games, my mom would tell me, okay, $10 an hour, you can go pull weeds. And I worked for 4 hours pulling weeds, which I hated, so I could buy a skin in Minecraft. It was like cosmic PvP. I would like battle it with people. And I ended up not even getting anything out of it. And I was like, this is the biggest waste of my money possible. I need to go spend it on something that matters. And I think that's where I learned things. So listen, Adam, let's start to wrap it up here. Sure. This was a great podcast. You are moving to Texas.
Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully.
Well, it's happening. It's happening.
It's going to eventually.
Yeah, it's just when, right?
So is it just because housing is cheaper?
So
you can live like a king over there?
So listen, if you can buy a 3-bedroom house for $1 million here and you have to deal with snow for 7 months, or you can buy the same house for $350,000 over there, and you don't have to deal with snow ever. Well, which one are you?
What are you going to deal with?
What are you gonna think?
And the whole reptile opportunity. Texas seems like they're a lot less sticklers on it, like not as much of a stickler on it.
Not only that, Texas is awesome. The weather's awesome. Everything is big.
People are great.
Bro, I like trucks. I like guns. I like all sorts of Texas
ribs.
stuff. Man, I love barbecue. So yeah, to me, that's like, I would fit right in Texas. And as soon as the visa comes in, dude, there'll be for sale sign on my lawn that day.
I love it.
Ready.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's hold you to some goals here.
Sure.
So do you have like set goals that you want to reach in the next little bit, or are you just going with the flow, riding it?
So I don't have like numbered goals, because with YouTube, it's like ebbs and flows, right? Like right now I'm in a valley and I'm sure I'll peak again. And I just came out of a peak where I had a 14,000 subscriber month, right?
Jeez.
But this is a 6,000.
Can't ride the highs and lows.
Exactly.
Just got to ride it flat.
Right. So, and that's the thing. That's when people start to quit, right? But I don't really have like numbered goals. Like I always thought by 5 years, I wanted to hit 1 million. I think that's overshooting now. So if I had, say, if I grew 150,000 a year for the next 3 years, I'd be happy, but my main goal is to dish things off. So not even like a numbers goal, dish things off, be able to travel more and do more different types of videos. So my goal isn't really numbers oriented right now for the first time ever. It's more of, this is what I want to do instead, and just diversify and change the content a little bit.
Maybe go to like Africa and go actually on a tour, make a video tour of actually seeing a wild...
We're planning an African trip.
There you go. See, so like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I love that, because I think that's what we're trying to build too, is like that systemization that you can be the front face and the background can work and people are motivated to do that. And I love how even as far as you've come, we'll use you as an example, you've just started to delegate. The thumbnails, that'll probably start to be something that you'll just dish out. That's
the first time I hired anyone to do I think I've done everything.
Which is crazy.
Except for that. Yeah, it is crazy.
I see it. It's going to be thumbnails. Then it might be a little bit of editing. Might be also then shooting. It might be like you will slowly, gradually get to that point. And for anybody watching, I mean, you're going to be the jack of all trades anytime you start until you have money. It's just the honest truth. Until you have money.
And that takes a while sometimes.
Oh, especially on YouTube. I mean, we were able to build a business. I was able to get the business up to a fundable point to pay a team and to invest within a year, which is still pretty exponential. But for you to grind for 3 years on YouTube, for Chris to grind for 4.5 years, 5 years on YouTube, like it's not easy. YouTube is honestly, like, anybody who's big on YouTube, I mean, unless they're Charlie D'Amelio and kind of just blew up, no shade, but like you're not gonna, you got to stick. And it shows. Like if you're big, you stuck.
And if you see people start to blow past you, don't get discouraged about it. Study what they're doing.
Yeah.
Use it as motivation, because a lot of people will do that. I blew past basically everybody, right? Because almost everyone started before me who's of a size that people would know. And it's just honestly like the hard work thing, sure, but also it's a lot of luck as well. And when I get lucky, I'm ready. If you get lucky and you're not ready and you don't know how to edit and you don't have a big catalog, you're screwed. You got to put in the work, right? Was it Emmett Smith? The harder I work, the luckier I get, or right? So, you know, but if I had any advice, it'd just be just keep going, keep going. Yeah. And then if you quit, nothing will ever happen. But if you keep going, something still can happen. And if you look at guys like Mr. Beast, he started over 10 years ago.
Literally. And he posted a video on his YouTube channel. It was like scheduled to be posted when he was like 20 years old, or I don't know, something like that. And he made the video when he was like 15, I think. And so it was like, it posted on his channel. He completely forgot about it. Posted on his channel, and he got to watch something, he got to reminisce on. So if anything, wild.
I didn't know that.
Try to look it up. You're going to have to scroll big time. Something like Mr. Beast.
There'll be a link on Reddit, I'm sure.
Yeah, you'll find it somewhere. It's really cool because he's saying his goals and stuff like that. If I were you, I would do it. Make a video right now, schedule it like 5 years or something from now.
I like that. That's a good idea.
I think it'd just be really cool. I have to make something like that. I want to. I try to document as much as possible. If anything, don't do it for the money. Don't do it for the fame. Don't do it for just don't do it for any of those outside materialistic reasons. Do it so you can document the time you spent and the things you learned.
And you're going to have opportunities too. That's the one thing as well. Like I went to Costa Rica last year. I never would have I never would have been able to do that, right? And that was actually the first time I've ever had anyone. We brought a camera guy and paid for his trip, but still, like that's crazy, right? Like you just pay for a guy's trip between 3 other people. We didn't that's it. And
you got the whole thing. Jeez.
And this guy was professional. This guy, like I cannot say, Nadim is like top tier. He can work for any production company ever. Yeah. But start today. If you're listening to this right now, as we wrap this up, start today. Do not wait until tomorrow, because tomorrow, the motivation that you feel right now, because I left here the other day, I felt motivated. I went home. I didn't take a nap like I wanted to because I got up early that day. I started working and I felt motivated for the rest because I started immediately. Yeah. Start right now. Yep.
Adam, man, I don't think we could have said it any better today on the podcast. This is probably one of my favorite ones. No shade on anybody else. It's just, it's not every day you get a big guy on YouTube, which is something that I think is the secret world of these big YouTubers. And I mean, you know, you may not have 1 million, but you certainly have the views. You certainly have the subscribers and just the interaction in general and the following and the fan base to prove that your hard work paid off big time. And I think to anybody listening, you can reach out to Adam. He answers all of his DMs, all of it. Well, any good comments that he sees.
Most of the comments.
Most of the comments he'll answer. Feel free to message him any single time. Again, shout out big time to Devin for getting us Adam on the podcast. That's huge. Hopefully he can pull through with some other big guests. We'll see. But anyways, thank you for listening. Feel free to download this episode, show our support. That's how we measure all of our Buzzsprout episodes on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Feel free to like our teasers, follow our Instagram. We're starting to grow on there. We've got some other amazing content like our Meeting Gold on Foot series, where you get to see what people's first jobs were, what they're doing now, how much they were making when they were young, what their favorite quote is, and anything really under the sun. So with that being said, thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Cheers. Thank you for listening to this week's Golden Guest on the Meeting Gold podcast. If you learned something from today's episode, make sure to check out our other content on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram, and YouTube. Also, make sure to leave us a follow while you're there. Thanks, and have a golden day.